All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another Quality Shot boxing live stream. I'm Mo. You're not joined by anyone else this evening. Just myself. We're going to be watching the Bivol versus Ramirez fight. Quite an interesting light heavyweight contest. Both fighters obviously with a ridiculously good record, each of them both undefeated as well. I know Bivol is the generally speaking the favorite according to the bookies, but it'll be a very interesting fight nonetheless. And also obviously Bivol having beaten Canelo when Canelo tried to go and challenge him for a super world light heavyweight fight. So Bivol obviously the one with slightly more fame to his name and more of the favorite, but it's going to be a very interesting fight in many respects, close to a 50-50 type of fight. Right now, the Zelfa Barrett v Rakhimov fight is going to be starting shortly. So we're actually going to go through a few of the undercard fights before we move on to the main event. This fight is in, I believe, Abu Dhabi, which is again nice to see these fights coming through and being hosted in the Middle East. Just nice change of scenery, I guess. Obviously, it's quite a trend recently with fights, for example, in Saudi Arabia and fights in Abu Dhabi. It's nice to see, along with obviously fights happening in the US and the UK and elsewhere in Europe and the Americas. So we've got, I think, just two undercard fights before the main fight. So the current undercard fight that's going to start soon, and that I'll be doing some commentary on, is this fight between Rakhimov and Zelfa Barat for a vacant IBF super featherweight world title, and then after that, I think it will be Chantal Cameron versus Jessica McCaskill for a bunch of lightweight world titles. Quite an interesting fight there, and then it should be the main fight. So we're actually not too far away from the main fight. I suspect an hour from now we'll be getting onto the main fight. So just going to start with mentioning where this fight's being shown. So for example, I'm watching it on DAZN. We don't stream the fights for obvious copyright reasons, but I will be trying to provide as best of a commentary as I can. It won't necessarily be blow by blow per se, because that can get quite tedious, but I will try to explain what's going on per round, and also I'll be trying to give my own unofficial scorecard. It's always fun scoring these fights yourself to see how far you get or close you get to the judges' scorecards as well. Yeah, interesting main fight, and from what I understand, quite a few interesting undercard fights as well. Loads of titles up for grabs, for example. So the last fight that when this stream had started did not cover was the fight between Galal Yafai and Gohan Rodriguez Garcia. And for those of you interested in the outcome of that fight, I believe Yafai won on a split decision. So it was close. It was close on the scorecards, although I think some of the commentators on DAZN were thinking that Yafai had quite comfortably won that fight. So yeah, just two undercard fights left, and then obviously the main fight. And I suspect people will start coming through mainly during the main fight event. Okay, so Rakhimov just making his way into the ring now. Might as well go through some of the stats between both these fighters. So Rakhimov is from Tajikistan. He is a southpaw, which is quite interesting. He's got 16 wins, no losses, one draw. 5'8.5", so slightly taller than Zelfa Barra, who stands at 5'7". Their age is relatively similar. Zelfa Barrett's got 28 wins to his record, one loss, and I think that one loss was in, I think it was like 2018. It's quite far away. So um, I would say relatively even in terms of their their records respectively. Seems relatively even in my opinion. Obviously, Rakhimov having never lost, but um, at the same time, Barrett's loss was like 3-4 years ago. So should be an interesting and hopefully competitive fight to watch. Yeah, I mean, slight height advantage from Rakhimov, but I'm not sure how that translates to reach necessarily. BoxRec is missing the reach stats for Rakhimov, but I'm sure DAZN will hopefully have a tail of the tape that I can read out if it does come up. It's interesting also seeing the number of kind of like Central Asian fighters that have come through recently onto these bigger fights, which is nice to see. Well, obviously, Rakhimov being from Tajikistan, and I think we're all aware of Bivol's background as from Kyrgyzstan. So yeah, interesting to see that trend. Obviously, one other thing to mention, Barrett's from the UK, if I haven't already mentioned it. So British fighter here, and one potentially to keep watching in this particular division for those of you who are British boxing fans. I think I see Eddie Hearn in the ring there. Obviously, Matchroom very much involved in today's fight card generally. Obviously, Eddie Hearn's come under quite a bit of pressure / criticism, given the whole Conor Ben fiasco. Um, I'll leave that for you to make comments about, but um, I think he could have handled it a bit better. And I think there's actually a video on QualityShot Boxing that covers some of our views relating to that whole situation, which is still ongoing, to be honest. And it is really unfortunate that those two, Eubank and Ben, haven't been able to fight, because it would have been a really interesting fight to cover. All right, both fighters in the ring. Both fighters appropriately tatted up as well. It's interesting to. I think Barrett's got on his chest "No boxing, no life" tattooed, which is quite interesting to see. Rightio. Nice to see people coming into this chat. For those of you who just joined, main fight isn't probably until an hour. I'm just covering this this undercard fight between Barrett and Rakhimov, and it is underway. So Barrett just trying to land an uppercut there. I think Rakhimov was pretty much unaffected. Rakhimov being the aggressor, trying to come forward, trying to land a few jabs. Rakhimov and doesn't land. This is obviously a bit of a feeler of a round, given it's the first round there. Oh, okay. Barrett trying to launch uppercut, but again, doesn't seem particularly effective. Okay, I mean, so far I see Barrett. He's trying to land uppercuts and hooks far more than Rakhimov. Rakhimov's just been trying to jab his way through for now. No real power punches coming from Rakhimov, but Barrett's already trying to land the power punches. Rakhimov seems relatively unaffected by them though, but it is interesting to see the uppercut followed by the hook being thrown by Barrett already in this first round. A round that you'd expect the fights to mainly focus on kind of getting their range together. A lot more activity from Barrett so far. About 1 minute 30 left this first round, so we're nearly halfway through. Staying hydrated as everyone should. Oh, nice jabs there by Rakhimov, to be honest. Slightly more accurate. I think the general trend of this first round has been that Barrett's been the one throwing the power punches, which is a bit more showy. But Rakhimov, I think, has been slightly more accurate in some of these exchanges, although focusing mainly on landing the jab. Quite interesting to see the differences here between these two so far in the initial approach to this first round. Again, Barrett trying to land a hook there, but missing. Not particularly. Rakhimov just wasn't in range. Well, Rakhimov landing one of his first hooks there, and yeah, Barrett trying to land the uppercuts, but not in range. A nice jab that Rakhimov lands. 20 seconds left this first round. F with the comment. Are you going for the Brit Barrett to win or rampaging Rakhimov? From this first round, I think Rakhimov has a better chance of winning this fight, to be honest. However, obviously, as a British boxing fan, my bias is towards Barrett. But I think Rakhimov has had a pretty good round. That's the end of the first round there, and I actually think Rakhimov has done pretty well. I would give that round to Rakhimov rather than Barrett. I mean, maybe the judges are seeing it differently. We'll see, obviously, when or if we ever get to the stage where there are scorecards for this. But I'm actually giving that first round to Rakhimov. So I've got Rakhimov up by 10-9, obviously. Yeah, interesting deployment of tactics by both fighters there. I think Rakhimov spent more time trying to land the jab, and Barrett just far more comfortable for whatever reason in throwing those power punches in that first round. Maybe a bit too early, but obviously I'm sure his corners have carefully thought about how to approach this fight, and maybe they wanted to see how effective those power punches would be in that first round. Let's see how Barrett does in terms of moving into the second round here. Whether he has a bit more accuracy with those power punches. Second round underway. Again, similar to the first round, Rakhimov being the aggressor in that he's coming forwards, keeping quite a high guard. Ooh, nice little uppercut by Barrett there. And then Barrett throwing hooks, which do land. Rakhimov seems kind of unaffected by the power, but they are, I think, scoring shots there because they don't seem to be getting parried by the Rakhimov's gloves. Rakhimov doing a good job utilizing the jab and then following up with a left hook. Barrett with a kind of leaping right hook that misses. Rakhimov following up with a double jab. Ooh, nice shots to the body by Barrett. He is having some effect with those hooks. Obviously, sometimes it's not particularly accurate, but you know, I'm sure the power punches, if they do land, especially if they're body shots, they'll do a good job of slowing down Rakhimov, who seems quite speedy, to be honest, as a fighter. And Rakhimov landing a shot to the body as well. It's quite an even fight, I find, so far. Halfway through the second round now. Rakhimov just stalking Barrett, who's doing a decent job of kind of circling around the ring here. Oh, nice hook by Barrett. Again, Rakhimov like seems to be not very much impacted by these shots, but they are landing, so they are scoring punches here. Nice bit of footwork by Barrett as well. He's doing a good job of staying out of range. Oh, very nice job, kind of slipping and sliding some of the punches by Rakhimov there by Barrett, and Rakhimov kind of slipped a little bit, but got back onto stable feet. Oh, nice left hook by Rakhimov, who's got Barrett in a corner, and Barrett's just managed to get out of it. Oh, nice hook. by Barrett. 10 seconds left of this second round. Nice hook by Rakhimov. Honestly, it's been pretty decent in terms of these two with the exchanges. Oh, nice left hook by Barrett to end the round. I'm giving that round to Barrett. I think he's been far more active, and those power punches have been thrown with a bit more frequency, and they've landed a bit more. Now, it doesn't look like Rakhimov is hurt by them necessarily. However, that doesn't matter, because if you're scoring it on the basis of how many punches are being landed, I think Barrett's had a bit more success. That being said, Rakhimov has obviously had a few good exchanges as well. However, I think Barrett did just enough for that second round to edge it in his favor. So I've got it even Stevens as we move on to the third round between these two. For those of you again who are just joining, the main fight will probably be in about an hour's time. We're currently looking at the penultimate undercard fight. So after this fight, which is between Rakhimov and Barrett, we will have one more undercard fight, and that undercard fight will be the women's super lightweight world title fight between Chantel Cameron and Jessica McCaskill. And then we'll obviously have the main fight that I'm sure a lot of people are keen to watch, which is the Bivol Ramirez fight. Third round underway between these two, Barrett and Rakhimov. Rakhimov approaching this third round with, I think, a little bit more urgency. I mean, he's been coming forward throughout the whole fight, but he is throwing more. Ooh, and in the process of coming forward, he did take a shot from Barrett, and I think Barrett thinks he's hurt, so he is throwing a number of hooks right now to the body. I think Barrett thinks he's had a bit of success there, because it looked like Rakhimov winced a bit when he took one of the shots while he was trying to come forwards. Those hooks have been quite effective for Barrett. And I think Rakhimov is just, fine. He's using the jab to try and get closer. However, he's not really throwing as many power punches, nowhere near as many power punches as Barrett. I think maybe that's going to be a problem here, because I don't think Barrett really respects Rakhimov's power at all, and he is ripping into Rakhimov's body, Barrett, with the hooks. Hook to the body, hook upstairs. Rakhimov complaining to the ref, stating that maybe one of them or two of them were a bit too low. Ref doesn't do anything about it. Fight continues on. Around a minute left of this third round. Well, Rakhimov with a nice straight left jab. A wild left hook thrown by Barrett. Barrett's still looking nice and quick on his feet. Oh, he did take a hook there. I think it just about brushed him. Barrett. Oh, what a right hook by Barrett. And Rakhimov goes onto one knee and manages to get back up again. But that is a scoring knockdown. That was a good right hook onto the chin by Barrett. 30 seconds left of this third round. And maybe Barrett wants to try and end this, but we'll see how he approaches this. He's already got a 10-8 round at this point. I'm sure he'll want to raise eyebrows and deliver a really special victory for himself. Maybe a knockout or something similar. 10 seconds left this third round. We're still very early into the fight. Well, Rakhimov doing a fantastic job of coming back, though. Nice shots to the body. And he finishes this third round on the front foot. However, that's obviously a 10-8 round in Barrett's favor. So now I've got Barrett up by 2 points. Yeah, very nice right hook there that Barrett threw in that third round. Just looking over the slow-mo that DAZN showing, slipped the jab, and don't know what they're talking. Actually, what are they talking about here? No, that's not the knockdown. There's the knockdown. Yeah, nice job with the right hook. Rakimov was coming forward with and he just kind of exposed himself for a right hook from Barrett, and then he complained to the ref afterwards because I think maybe he was saying that he slipped instead of took a instead of that hook knocking him down. But no, 100% he did not slip. Though it's quite clear that he fell onto the canvas after taking that hook. So anyway, fourth round underway. I think Rakimov needs to pull something out of the bag here. You know, it's still early. It's the fourth round. However, he's just been knocked down. So it's obviously 10-8 to Barrett. He might be losing on the judges' scorecards for the first and second rounds as well. So a bit more urgency needed from Rakimov, perhaps. And I think that's what we're getting because Rakimov is coming forward and throwing those hooks upstairs. Nevertheless, Barrett looking very fresh, very quick and reactive on the back foot, trying to throw those counters in. And that's the thing. Very quick counters from Barrett. Rakimov coming forward and trying to land something of his own, but then Barrett doing a fantastic job of slipping and then countering. And that's obviously how he managed to knock down Rakimov in the previous round. Rakimov's done quite a bit of complaining to the ref. I don't know what he's complaining about. It might be low blows, or it might be something else, but the ref is having none of it. We're about halfway through this fourth round. Nice left hook by Rakimov. Nice jab by Barrett. And just Rakimov just coming forward really. Nothing else going on between these two. Just a bit of parrying here and there. A nice, well, not a nice right hook by Barrett. He did throw it, but I think it got parried by the gloves of Rakimov. Oh, nice jab by Rakimov. And he is trying to throw the hooks, but he's not having that much success. Rakimov in this fourth round. He leaves himself open to counters here, and I think Barrett is just a bit too quick for him. Barrett pushing Rakimov back, kind of showing his physicality there. Referee not doing anything about it, just letting the fighters fight. I think referee's done a pretty good job of not breaking up these two, letting them fight it out. When they got close, he's done a good job just letting these fighters fight, which is good. 20 seconds left this fourth round. Shot to the body by Barrett. Again, Rakimov trying to come forward, but he's having issues. I think he must be at a reach disadvantage or something because he's just having real issues trying to get close to Barrett and being able to land successfully. I think Barrett's done a pretty good job in this fourth round. So I'd give that 10-9 in his favor. So I got Barrett up by 3. And if the fight continues in that trajectory, I'm sure Barrett will comfortably win this fight. I mean, he'll probably be thinking he wants to get rid of Rakimov through a TKO or KO victory, and I assume that's why he's still throwing those hooks in the same way that he has been since that first round. He's been very comfortable throwing those power punches. Yeah, DAZN just showing a few slow-mos here of what's been very much happening in these rounds. Oh, actually, that was a low blow there, to be fair. So Barrett did throw a low blow. Just looking at the slow-mo, I think that was definitely below the belt, and obviously Rakimov complained, but the referee didn't do anything. Fine. We'll see if he throws one again, whether Rakimov will hear that, will get the referee to actually listen to him. But yeah, I mean, Rakimov coming forward, trying to throw, trying to land, and exposing himself to counters, and Barrett doing a good job being quick and throwing the hook, especially the right hooks, had loads of success. And that's ultimately what we've been seeing so far in this fight. Fifth round is underway. And Rakhimov just trying the right hook himself. Mannix's scorecard from DAZN, 10, 10, 10, 10, all in favor of Barrett, with obviously the third round being a 10-8 round. So, yeah, clearly Barrett in the lead here. I mean, I gave the first round to Rakhimov, but otherwise following the same scorecard myself. Yeah, Barrett's done a good job of just showing how he can deal with a fighter that tries to put pressure on him. Been pretty good at fighting on the back foot here and kind of circling around. Barrett trying to land a bunch of hooks, but I think good lateral movement by Rakhimov, and it's been relatively ineffective actually there in that exchange. Halfway through this fifth round. It's been an interesting fight to watch. I think Barrett is, for the most part, comfortably winning these rounds now, unless somehow Rakhimov comes out with something special. I think it's quite a comfortable Barrett victory at this point, if it continues in the way that it's going on. And know that we'll be having quite a few, hopefully, Spanish-speaking viewers for this fight. Sorry, I think my microphone cut out there for a second. But yeah, assume we'll be having quite a few Spanish-speaking viewers for this fight, because obviously with this Bivol and Ramirez fight, I'm sure there'll be loads of people supporting Ramirez from the Spanish-speaking world generally. He's obviously a very well-known Mexican fighter, and Mexico has produced some really good fighters historically, and obviously recently. There's many that we can name. That's the end of that fifth round. I'm giving that to Barrett. So I got Barrett up by 4. Just pretty standard stuff at this point. Jose, now my understanding from Google Translate is that this potentially means hello dog, what's up? Potentially, but I don't know what oyo means in Spanish. So you hear, perhaps. What's up? Anyway, hello, Jose. Hola, Jose. Nice to have you on the QualityShot live stream here. I'm sure you're supporting Ramirez. Nice to have you. Main fight still 40 minutes time, I would say. So this fight, then another fight, then the main one. Round 6 underway between Barrett and Rakhimov. Yeah, I mean, not much activity so far to report. I think Rakhimov trying to go to the body, being relatively unsuccessful. Nice left jab by Barrett. I'm sure Barrett wants to get him out of this, get him out of the ring. I'm sure he doesn't want to go to points. I'm sure Barrett wants to score some sort of show real type knockdown or knockout victory here. He looks like he's timing Rakhimov quite a bit. He looks like he's waiting for Rakhimov to come forward and make a move or make a mistake so that he can counter him. He's very comfortable allowing Rakhimov to come forward here, Barrett. It's almost really just playing into his own plan, which is probably to counter him. And Rakhimov is of course under quite a bit of pressure at this point because he's obviously down on the scorecards. He's been knocked down, so he knows that there's a 10-8 round against him. So at this point in the 6th round, um, either he boxes his ass off, which I think is going to be unlikely, because Barrett just seems to be a bit too sleek and quick and cute here, or he tries to, you know, tries to knock out Barrett or something similar, or damage him or hurt him. And I think that's what he's trying to do. But obviously, the issue with that is that he opens himself up and exposes himself to counters. Um, so he's in a bit of a difficult position, to be fair. Rakimov. 40 seconds left of this 6th round, and it's been very much the same kind of thing from the previous round that I've been explaining already. No real eye-catching punches in this round either to report as well, to be fair. 20 seconds left. Nice shot to the body by Barrett. Barrett again with a hook and another hook. He loves throwing the right hook. Rakimov definitely showing some fight in him as well, trying to throw some hooks too, but Barrett just looking better in all these exchanges. That's the end of that. I'm giving that round to Barrett. I think Rakimov did a good job of putting pressure on him. It's just been, unfortunately, ineffective. I mean, he has tried to get Barrett into the corner. He has tried to, unleash with some punches here and there, but it's just been unsuccessful for the most part. It's mostly just pressure shown, but no real things have been. Nothing really has been landed, or nothing has really hurt Barrett. So it's therefore relatively ineffective pressure. And so far, I've got Barrett up by 5, and we're moving into the 7th round. So, is what it is. Interesting people in this crowd. It's AJ's here. And also we have the some very interesting Mexican boxers in the crowd as well. Andy Ruiz, I think, is also in the crowd. I'm sure supporting his Mexican fellow Mexican fighter for the main fight. 7th round underway. Nice jab by Barrett. And yeah, Rakimov jab to the body. He seems. Ooh, Barrett trying to land some heavy power punches there, but Rakimov managed to get out of the way. Oh, nice right hook by Barrett. Very nice right hook by Barrett there. Rakimov is very tough. He's taken a lot of these power punches, and he still is coming forwards. Very aggressive fighting style. Less than 2 minutes of this 7th round. Oh, nice left hook by Barrett. Which is interesting because Barrett hasn't really been landing the left hooks. It's been very much right hook heavy. But that left hook, that was pretty effective there as well. And obviously Rakimov probably looking out for that right hook. Maybe getting used to seeing that right hook come through, but then left hook coming slightly more unexpected perhaps. Kind of a looping left hook thrown by Rakimov that just misses. Barrett managing to stay out of range. Oh, nice uppercut by Rakimov though, and he's got Barrett against the ropes, but Barrett doing a fantastic job of fighting his way out with those hooks. Manages to turn around and then shot to the body, followed by a shot upstairs by Barrett. Less than a minute left of this 7th round. Nice uppercut by Rakimov actually there. Although he does take a shot to the body and then, ooh, interesting overhand right by Barrett, which I haven't seen so far in this fight. Oh, nice overhand right again. It's almost like a mixture between a hook and overhand right, to be fair, but it's still very looping in nature. He is switching it up a bit more, Barrett, in this 7th round. And again, hook followed by a shot to the body by Barrett. 15 seconds after this 7th round. And that's the end of that 7th round, which actually ends with a pretty nice left hook by Rakimov. I think it's a 10-9 again to Barrett. I've got Barrett by 6 by this point. I'm sure he's going to comfortably win on points already. I'm saying that he's going to do that. LJ is saying these Saudi Arabian audiences are dead. So my understanding is that this fight is in Abu Dhabi, as opposed to Saudi Arabia. However, I assume you are right. I don't have the sound on for my stream, but I assume that you're right in that the crowd is not going absolutely nuts right now. It is interesting, I'm not sure whether like different crowds have different vibes, but I mean, from my understanding, having watched quite a few fights with the sound on before, I do find that actually the fights in America and the fights in Europe are sometimes a bit more rowdy than the fights in the Middle East. But that's a massive generalization. Might also be because they're not particularly interested in this Barrett Rakhimov fight. It might change when the main fight happens because that is a massive fight. And also, to be fair, I don't watch too many fights with the sound on because when I am doing a live stream, I just don't have the sound on. But no, interesting observation there. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's I have no idea. Can they drink alcohol or not? I have no idea. It's obviously the Middle East, but there are obviously pockets where you can drink alcohol. By the way, 8th round is underway. I'll let you know if there's anything interesting in this 8th round, but it's very much Barrett doing the same old stuff. It might be because alcohol probably helps. I don't know. I can't imagine people are drinking in here. And there are obviously pockets in Saudi Arabia, I think, and in Dubai where you can drink, but I don't expect there to be drinking at this event. So maybe that kind of contributes. Um, Barrett kind of being backed into a corner, but managing to make his way out again. Props to Rakhimov in that he's still come forward the entire fight, happy to be the aggressor, not particularly afraid of taking these power punches, still trying to win, obviously. He doesn't look defeated. He's still trying to throw hooks of his own. He is still trying to push Barrett into a corner. However, Barrett's been very much slick. He's been quick on his feet. He's still been bouncing around the ring, done a very good job of circling around the ring here and throwing those counter punches. He's been comfortable allowing the pressure to be applied to him and waiting for those opportunities where Rakhimov has been slightly more exposed in order to throw the counter. He's done very well with the right hook in particular, but also done a good job of mixing it up. He's thrown the left hook and also overhand right at points. So I think he's been pretty good. Although he's taken a battering of hooks right now, Barrett actually. Commentators curse, but he did take a few hooks there, and he didn't look particularly good for those few seconds. 40 seconds left of this 8th round. Actually, Rakimov doing a good job of landing some scoring shots there. I may give this round to him potentially on my unofficial scorecard, but we'll see. F saying, bro, the crowds are like yalla yalla habibi. Great. Francia with a Spanish comment there, which I will translate into Google at a suitable point. It's the end of this. Oh, nice left hook by Barrett. Nice little exchange at the end. You know what? I'm gonna give that round to Rakimov. I think he was quite active, and also I think he did have some success with some of his hooks there. I'm gonna translate this. Major. Love it. Nice to see the Spanish is the best. Okay, Francia saying Bivol is the best. Really interesting. Um, What about your fellow Spanish-speaking compatriot, however, Ramirez? Do you think he's got a chance here, or not? I mean, to be fair, Bivol is the favorite, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. The bookies have him as the favorite. Um, so it's one thing to note. Francia, I think that translates to the fights we want. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but thank you for your comment. Muchas gracias for your comment. LJ is saying, honestly, mate, they're really quiet, always sitting down. Don't get overly excited about big punch exchanges or KOs. Kills the vibe. Is where it is, I guess. That is true. Maybe they don't. I mean, I think I remember watching a few fights in some of these fights in Saudi and in the UAE, for example, and maybe they don't get as excited, which is interesting. I wonder why. I wonder why. Is interesting. Ninth round is underway. Mannix's scorecard, unofficial scorecard on DAZN shows. Oh, interesting. He gave the 5th and 6th round to Rakimov and the 8th round to Rakimov. Interesting. So slightly more even, but still has Barrett up. Oh, nice exchanges here. I think Rakimov doing a decent job with some of these exchanges. He is definitely fighting back. He hasn't lost the fight within him. He's advancing. He's the aggressor. That might mean something to the judges, the fact that he's the aggressor as well. Nice left hook. Oh, overhand right by Barrett wasn't particularly successful. Rakimov coming forward. Nice jab by Rakimov. Barrett trying to keep that guard high, trying to block those shots. Oh, he ate a hook there. Quite a few hooks. Barrett. He looks a bit unstable, in fact. Oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me! Rakimov has knocked down Barrett in the 9th round. What the heck? Yo, nice shots to the body as well. My goodness me. Looks like the aggressiveness of Rakimov is paying off. And Barrett's got less than a minute to actually stay in this, and he does not look stable. He does not look on stable legs. Wow, what a plot twist. What a plot twist. Oh my goodness, both of these fighters throwing the big hooks right now. Barrett throwing some massive hooks which landed. Rakimov looks relatively unaffected. Rakimov with Barrett in the corner right now, going nuts, and he again lands another scoring punch. Oh my goodness, the referee has waved it off. What the heck? What the heck? What the heck, dude? Rakimov with a TKO victory, and he screams into the heavens like an absolute madman. What the frick? Completely unexpected. He was down on the scorecards. He had a very nice previous 8th round there, and in the 9th round, he just kept pushing on with the aggression, and he landed some really nice hooks. My goodness me, really nice hooks there. That's crazy. That is crazy. And also, I just realized, is Freddie Roach in his corner? What the heck? Freddie Roach coaches Rakimov? I didn't even know that. That's also one thing that maybe goes a bit amiss there, but that's a big deal. What the heck? Barrett was like ahead, in my opinion. I'm sure on the judges' scorecard he was ahead, and I think Rakimov had some really nice exchanges. He did have real good success landing those hooks at different points in the 8th round, for example. He had some good success, and he just took that forwards in the 9th round. And my goodness, he was incredibly successful there. And I think maybe the problem for Barrett was that he threw back a bit too much. Maybe he should have tied Rakimov up. He went toe to toe with Rakimov, and it looks like Rakimov's chin is just so much stronger. Perhaps his ability to sustain punches is much better. Perhaps, and I think Barrett, although he obviously was boxing quite well and did a very good job of utilizing the ability to counter Rakimov. I think he got into a bit of a war in this ninth round, and it just didn't work out for him. Going blow to blow with Rakimov did not work out for him, and it looks like Rakimov had the better of the exchanges. A bit of a plot twist, very very surprising, very entertaining actually to see um, Rakimov win, because I was not expecting that. It was almost like cruise control in some of those middle rounds there. Barrett was doing a very good job of just negating the aggression of Rakimov, but it looks like he managed to break through. And what an amazing, interesting last few seconds to that fight. Really unexpected. Well done to Rakimov for delivering that TKO victory. Bloody hell. Yeah, unexpected, unlucky for Barrett, 'cause I think he was actually boxing very well. And he was up on the scorecards and managed to obviously score a knockdown himself in the third round. But wow, Rakimov, very nice. Freddie Roach hugging his fighter. Rakimov winning this fight. He obviously takes this belt as well, I believe. Unless I'm mistaken, were they fighting for a vacant? Yeah, they were. They were fighting for a vacant IBF World Super Featherweight belt, and it's now Rakimov's. Well done to him. Both fighters very, sharing respect at the end of this fight. Hugging it out. Wow, impressive. Impressive, very impressive. Up until that ninth round, I think Barrett was doing very, very well. So unlucky for him, but doesn't take anything away from Rakimov. I mean, he was very good. Very, very successful there. And obviously he complained to the referee quite a few times. The referee didn't do anything when he got, took some low blows and everything. Things like that. Rakimov, you can tell he's incredibly, incredibly pleased with this result. He's literally screaming like a madman into the sky right now as the belt is wrapped around his waist. Well done. Well done to him. Freddie Roach just kind of giving his commiserations to Barrett there. Very nice exchange between these two fighters. Looks like there's no real bad blood between these two. Very respectful. Interesting. More screaming from Rakimov into the sky. Okay, that's an undercard fight done. One more to go, and then obviously the main fight. Some observations about Rakimov. Seems to have a very good chin. He may come under problems if he fights fighters who are much better who have much more power. I feel like he would struggle. I mean, he's obviously one of those fighters who comes forward and he likes having exchanges with fighters. But if Barrett had more power behind his punches, I think he could have really caused serious damage. And so maybe one thing for Rakimov to watch for his future fights, because to be honest, I don't think he was winning from a technical boxing point of view here, is watching out for big power punches. And also, in a way, watching out for people who are very good at evading his punches and being technically better at boxing and being able to last the whole fight. Because if he was fighting someone who was basically boxing like Barrett but had a much stronger chin, or basically didn't decide to engage in exchanges with him, like the one that he did, which in a way probably led to the fact that he got knocked down and basically had lost by TKO, then I think Rakimov would come under problems from those types of fighters. I don't think he's. I mean, from judging him in this fight alone, he doesn't come across as the absolute best of that weight category, and obviously he's not. I think according to BoxRec, they'd put him at number 5. If you look at, say, Stevenson, for example, he would come under serious problems from someone like him or from Valdez. So we'll see. We'll see what his next fight looks like, but I'm sure he'll be fighting a much more higher ranked opponent. It'll be interesting to see how he fights, how he performs against them, because I don't think he didn't come across as like perfect, but nevertheless, very impressive to see this fight end in his favor. I wasn't expecting it. That was quite exciting to watch. Um, it's always interesting watching some knockdowns in a fight. Makes it more interesting. I'm a simple man. And we move on to the not the main fight, the last undercard fight. And this is the fight between Chantal Cameron and Jessica McCaskill. For those of you who may remember, I think McCaskill once had a once had a fight with Katie Taylor. This was a long time ago. I think it was in 2017 that she lost. But since then, she's been on relatively like a pretty good streak of wins. To be honest, this is a very big fight for both these fighters. McCaskill's from the US, and Chantal Cameron is a British fighter. This is a massive fight for both of them, I think, because there's a significant amount of belts on the line. IBF World Super Light, IBO World Super Light, WBA World Super Light, WBC World Super Light, WBO World Super Light. Three of those are vacant, and the other two, I believe, are held by Chantal Cameron. So it's a big belt type of fight for these two. Fight hasn't started yet, so we'll just wait until that eventually rolls through. I assume it'll start in 8 minutes, i.e. 9 p.m. UK time. We'll see. Give or take, assume that fight will take maybe half an hour, and then I would expect the main fight to be in, I assume, 30 to 40 minutes time. For those of you who are interested in the main fight, so this bout will be a standard about 10 rounds, 2-minute rounds. And then we can go through the tail of the tape when we get a bit closer to that fight to kind of discuss height, reach, record, things like that. But in short, I assume that Chantal Cameron will win the fight, but we'll see. I think based on the record of these two and based on who's actually the one that has the belts that are not vacant, based on kind of activity, based on age, based on height advantage, I would imagine that Cameron will win this fight. However, I'm sure it's a close fight. I assume the bookies have it in Cameron's favor as well. We've got a comment from Jose here, and we've got a comment from Onga. Thanks for joining the stream. Not sure what that means. I assume it is in potentially a Central Asian language. But thank you for your comment. It's very vague for me to say Central Asian language. Apologies, but I assume it is. It's always nice with all the different fights from different ethnic backgrounds to see how the viewership on the QualityShot streams changes accordingly. It's always nice. It's always nice seeing that. And this main fight's interesting because obviously we have a Mexican fighter going up against a fighter of, I believe, Kyrgyzstan origin. And I don't think you can necessarily compare it to, say, Canelo versus Golovkin per se. And you got a Mexican going against someone who's Kazakh. But if you wanted to be vague enough, maybe you could make the argument that it's quite interesting that you've got the kind of Central Asian versus Mexican type of fights going on, but there's no real kind of historical rivalry there in the way that you'd get historical rivalry between, say, um, fighters of different South American countries going up against each other or something like that, or Americans versus Mexicans or something like that. But it is an interesting trend if I want to make up trends. We have a comment from another user. I'm not sure what this says, so thank you for your comment. I'm hoping that none of this is inappropriate language, but in any event, most of us wouldn't know. So thank you for your comment, and I'm more than happy to feature it on this stream of all streams. For those of you wondering, again, do we show the fight? We don't, unfortunately, due to copyright reasons. However, I'm going to try my best to give a blow-by-blow commentary where I can. Also, I'm watching this fight on DAZN. So for those of you interested in trying to buy this fight, my understanding is that you can get it from DAZN, which is done a pretty good job of being able to showcase fights around the world. Really, in my humble opinion, I think they've been pretty good. And we're not sponsored by them, but they're more than welcome to reach out should they wish. But yeah, I think that they're pretty good in terms of their reach. I understand loads of people from different countries are able to watch fights through DAZN, so that they've done a pretty good job of having that global reach, including other sports as well. It's quite interesting. Right, so this is the last undercard fight. We've just got Jessica McCaskill, who's gone into the ring. She is, I don't know whether you could argue she's a challenger, but are you Mexican or American? I assume you're asking who I'd support in a fight, because I'm neither Mexican or American. Obviously, you can tell F from my accent, and I know it's quite obvious I'm British. If a Mexican fought an American, who would I support? I'm gonna make up my own question here through interpreting what you're saying. It depends, really, doesn't it? Depends. Like, if Canelo was fighting Mayweather, I'd prefer Canelo to win. When Canelo was fighting Mayweather back in the day, I was supporting Canelo, actually. But if Wilder fights Ruiz, you know what? I'll support Ruiz in that. Not gonna lie, I'll fight Ruiz. So there you go. Hope that's satisfactory. Right, we've got Cameron making their way in. F says, reckon this may be the fight of the night. She's undisputed at 147, McCaskill. Top fight. Oh, interesting. Okay. That is interesting. Yeah, I mean, that makes it a far more competitive fight, I'm sure. I mean, my initial view, as I said earlier, is that I think Cameron will win this fight, but that's an interesting bit of information to add here. That makes it more competitive than I'm assuming. So we'll see. We'll see. Although it is obviously, you said at 147, right? They're obviously wonder what weight they're let's see, what weight are they fighting at? They're both weighed in at around 63 kg, which in pounds is 139. So they're obviously fighting at obviously they're fighting at super lightweight, right? So 147 I would imagine to be like welter, isn't it? So unless I'm mistaken. So yeah, interesting. 140. Yeah, so they're fighting a slightly lower weight there. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if McCaskill can carry the same power, for example, at 140 that she does at 147. But interesting fight. It is a Brit versus an American. That's interesting as well. I'm sure the American anthem is being played right now. I can't tell because I don't have the sound on my stream here, but I'm sure it'll eventually get played, that wonderful anthem. And obviously the God Save the King will be played as well. God Save the King. Rightio. Yeah, okay, might as well go through the tail of the tape actually before this fight starts. So let's compare these two according to BoxRec stats. Okay, Cameron 16 wins, no losses, no draws. McCaskill 12 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws. Bearing in mind one of those is to the absolute goat, Taylor. So just keep that in mind. Cameron 31, McCaskill 38, quite a bit older, but I find that for the women fighters, they can fight in their mid to late 30s usually, and I don't think it impacts them as much compared to the men. That's a wide generalization, but I don't think that's too much of a big deal on the basis that I'm quite used to seeing the female fighters in their 30s, for example. So fine. Height, so 2 inches taller. Cameron's 2 inches taller, and then reach, they both seem to be 69 inches in terms of reach. Fine. That's it really. I did see the McCaskill fight against Ibarra. Just catching up on that. She did a pretty good job of making Ibarra retire actually. She was quite heavy-handed. So it'll be a competitive fight. I think there'll be a very interesting competitive fight to watch. And then after this fight, for those of you keen to watch the main fight will follow. So don't you worry. It is coming. Just gonna get my unofficial scorecard notepad ready here between these two. Casco and Cameron. Okay. Right, McCaskill and Cameron for the IBF World Super Light, IBO World Super Light, WBA World Super Light, WBC World Super Light, WBO World Super Light titles in Abu Dhabi. Here we go. Round 1. All right. McCaskill coming forward. And my goodness me. Okay. Both fighters pretty awkward so far in terms of just like getting tied up at points. But McCaskill definitely the aggressor right now. Throwing quite. Ooh, nice hook by McCaskill. She was trying to overhand right as well. Nice jab by McCaskill as well. Cameron with a jab back. And both fighters finding themselves in the center here. But again, McCaskill now stalking Cameron around the ring. And well, both fighters tying themselves up. Cameron throwing shots on the tie up. Referee breaking the two up. It's incredibly fast paced. 1 minute left this first round. All guns blazing really in this first round, to be honest. Oh, nice right hook by McCaskill. Oh, McCaskill kind of like putting her arms out, almost to say, "Come at me." It's clear that she wants a bit of a not a brawl, but she wants an exchange, and pushes Cameron's face away after the referee tries to break up the two fights. McCaskill with a left glove right into Cameron's face, obviously trying to agitate her. 20 seconds left of this round 1. F saying feel out round. I think both of them are trying to throw, to be fair. They're throwing bombs in here. Oh, nice right hook by Cameron. Oh, nice left hook by McCaskill. There's a lot of power punches being thrown in this first round. I can't really tell if it's a feel out round. Both of them are just throwing punches and punches. At the end of the first round, I give that to McCaskill, to be honest. I think they're a bit more effective. So I got McCaskill up by 1. They were a bit more effective. Came across as the aggressor, landed a bit more. Seemed to be a bit more kind of more of an assertion of dominance generally, just kind of roughing up Cameron. Seemed very keen and did connect. So yeah, I'd give that first round. It was a close round and very much kind of difficult to assess because both fighters are landing quite frequently. But I think overall McCaskill probably had the better of the exchanges, and so I'm giving that to McCaskill in the first round. Just waiting for the second round. Right, second round underway. These rounds always they go so quickly. Cameron kind of tying up McCaskill's neck and then throwing a bunch of rabbit punches and referee stepping in. It's quite a scrappy fight so far. Oh my goodness, overhand rights galore, and then McCaskill tying up Cameron, and there's a lot of kind of pushing of the faces here. This is a very rough fight and awkward at points. Oh, McCaskill with a nice hook, very nice hook. Trying to kind of bob and weave in order to get closer to Cameron, and then unleashing with the hooks here. McCaskill's head getting kind of pushed down by Cameron, referee stepping in to break this up. Yeah, McCaskill's definitely trying to rough up Cameron. Like you can tell it's just even on the break, just pushing gloves into the face of Cameron, and it's very much an aggressive start from McCaskill. And she's doing a very good job of getting close within range and throwing those hooks. But as I said, very awkward at points. A lot of times referees stepping in to break these two up, and sometimes they're not landing very cleanly. But very much action packed, very much action packed. An elbow to the face by Cameron. 10 seconds left this second round. It's very difficult to score, to be honest. I mean, the speed and the number of exchanges here. But again, I think McCaskill's just a bit better. That's the end of that second round. I'll give that round to McCaskill. Let me know if you disagree, if you're also watching this one. But I just think she had a bit more success in the exchanges once again. We've just gotten a comment from someone who's quite funny, but I'm not going to click on it because it's just unnecessary. Also, the name of the person providing the comment's quite funny, but so far no timeout, no blocks for you, but I don't know about that comment, to be fair. I'll defer to the head honcho F. But yeah, thank you for your. I don't know. I'm not even gonna say thank you for your comment. Anyway, moving into the third round. It was a very interesting fight so far. Anyway, so my goodness, McCaskill trying to back Cameron up into the corner. Referee stepping in. Oh, man, both the fighters getting quite tangled up at points here. I don't know if it's. I'm trying to tell. Are they both orthodox? Yeah, they're both orthodox. I don't see any issue here, but don't think it's a stance issue. I think it's just obviously they get into close range. There's a lot of tying up. Ooh, wild left hook thrown by McCaskill that doesn't connect. I think Cameron's having the better of the exchanges to some extent. Looks like Cameron's face is slightly marked up. I don't think McCaskill's face is marked up. Ooh, kind of nice punch to the body by Cameron. The referee broke the two up. Less than a minute already of his third round. And yeah, and McCaskill kind of just keeping her head down out of range here, and I think kind of Cameron's unable to do anything about that, and referee has to keep stepping in. So again, slightly awkward. 30 seconds left of this third round. I think Cameron's had the better of the exchanges so far. In that, I see more connections here. Nice left thrown by Cameron, for example, just now. Nice left. Oh, nice left hook by Cameron. Both fighters in the clinch once again. Nice right hook by Cameron. Having much more success. Oh, nice left hook by Cameron. Very nice. I'll give that round to Cameron. I had much more success in my opinion. So I got McCaskill up by 1. Yeah, let me know how you're finding it. Just waiting for this 4th round. Main fight should be in, I would imagine, half an hour for those interested in watching the main fight. Cameron just getting some coaching before the start of this 4th round. Both fighters obviously getting coaching. Very, very important fight for these both. Fourth round's underway. Nice overhand right by McCaskill. And Cameron kind of tying McCaskill up. Referee speaking to both these fighters to try and keep it clean. And just kind of a 1-2 by McCaskill there, but it wasn't kind of Cameron did a good job of staying out of range. 1 minute left of this 4th round. I think Cameron's had decent amount of success throwing those hooks. Very, very high activity type of fight. Obviously because the weight category as well. It's just really quick hands from both of these fighters. It's just full energy throughout the whole fight. "20 seconds left of this 4th round. Ooh. Casco looked a bit hurt for a second there and kind of dipped forward, and referee had to step in because it wasn't appropriate for Cameron to keep punching. But no, it looks like McCaskill's actually fine. There's a habit there of McCaskill kind of dipping down quite a bit in the fight. That's the end of the 4th round. I'll give that to Cameron, to be honest. I think Cameron had a bit of the exchanges. So I got it even Stevens as we move on to the 5th round. See a comment there from Jack. I can tell that Jack's comment is a bait, and I won't be reading it out. Good try, Jack. You see, if that was Fazan, he would read it out. Fazan's very good at getting baited. I'm not. Moving on to the 5th round. Oh goodness. Alright, 5th round underway between these two. Thanks, Jack. That was funny. Alright. Looks like according to Mannix, Cameron has won every single round according to Mannix. don't know about that, but fair dues. So has it very much in favor of Cameron. I think it's a bit more even. What the heck is that? There's a slip there by Cameron. It looked like Cameron had been hit, but instead Cameron slipped. Referee ruled it as a slip. All fine. Fight is getting back to it now. Nothing much to report so far. Both fighters having relative success respectively for each of their exchanges. Nice uppercut by Cameron. Very nice uppercut. I think Cameron is having a bit more success now in this round. Nice counter as well by Cameron. McCaskill's still coming forward, and still the aggressor here, but yeah, Cameron's done a pretty good job of countering and landing quite effective hooks. Nice right hook by Cameron. Woof. But McCaskill coming back, throwing punches in bunches, but very much missing. You can tell the aggression and the passion is there, but I think Cameron had the better of the exchanges again. So I've got Cameron now up by 1. It's interesting that Mannix had Cameron winning every single round. I think it was a bit closer than that, but hey. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I've got Cameron up by 1. Let me know if you got the scores different or not. Let me know if you're find this fight interesting. Let me know what your views are on the main fight. Who you got winning that? That is going to be the next fight. The main fight. Very interesting fight, as I mentioned earlier. Really, really interesting to see these two go up against each other with their unbeaten records, and it will make for a very interesting light heavy fight. 6th round underway. Again, McCaskill coming forward. Trying to throw, but not really landing much. We've got a thank you, Ugg, for your comment there on on the main fight. Appreciate it. One minute left for the 6th round. Nice jab by Cameron. It's been a very quick paced fight here. There's been very little rest between these two. There's been many power punches being thrown. It has been very exciting to watch all these exchanges. It doesn't look like either of them have been particularly hurt so far. And I think Cameron is starting to have a bit more success in these exchanges. McCaskill's obviously fighting at a different weight compared to the weight that maybe she's more used to fighting at. I think F had mentioned before she's quite dominant at 147, I think it was. And they're fighting at a lower weight here. It's the end of that 6th round. I give that to Cameron. He's got Cameron up by 2. Not much left of this 10-round fight. Those 2-minute rounds go very quickly. And of course, after that, we will have the main fight, Ramirez Bivol. Yeah, guys, I do appreciate if you could like and subscribe. Always helps the channel to grow. We do try and cover like big boxing fights whenever we can through live streams like this, and we have quite a few interesting other things that will eventually come out as well. So yeah, do keep your eyes out. Maybe also turn that notification bell on because we do have some interesting content that's coming out soon. 7th round underway. Also, thank you for viewing this. We appreciate your support. 1 minute 30 left for this 7th round. I think McCaskill's trying to come forward and throw, but Cameron doing a good job of staying out of range just now. So McCaskill hasn't been able to connect. I would say that Cameron's quicker, generally speaking, and he's done a good job of landing a nice straight right hand, Cameron. But looks like Cameron's bleeding a bit from the nose. So I think she has sustained a bit of damage. So that the power McCaskill has delivered some nose nose some injury to the nose there of Cameron. So I'm sure the judges will be looking at that as well. F just commenting on some of these very creative baits that we've gotten, which I think have been very entertaining personally. Quite enjoy it. I'm sure F you would have read out everything, I'm sure. That's the end of the nice nice right hook there thrown by Cameron to end that 7th round. I'll give that to Cameron again. The exchanges have been quite close, to be honest, but I think Cameron's done a better job of staying out of range and utilizing the jab a bit more than McCaskill. I think McCaskill's looked quite frustrated at points during the fight, trying to come forward, trying to be aggressive, but unsuccessful, generally speaking, in trying to connect some of these combinations that have been thrown. For example, missed. Whereas I think Cameron's done a better job of her combinations connecting more. So yeah, I think generally speaking, Cameron just seems to be quicker. It's comfortable fighting on the back foot, and has been able to connect a bit more. I think it's been a close fight, but I think Cameron's winning these rounds, just about edging it. Then again, the fight's not over until the fight's over, right? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I've got Cameron up by 3. But, having just watched the previous fight between Rakimov, the aggressor sometimes manages to connect and somehow manages to finish the fight, so anything can happen in boxing. We'll see. So far, we're in the 8th round. Cameron's got a cut to the nose. However, Cameron's been pretty good on the exchanges. Is winning on points, in my opinion. On Manx's scorecard, is winning on points on on the basis of 69 to 64 so far. So 5 rounds, which is a big lead. Not even that. 1, 2, 3. I think more than 5 rounds. So yeah, although I think Cameron is winning this fight on a points basis, looks like the damage that's been sustained between these two has also been sustained by Cameron more than McCaskill has. So I mean, who knows? Maybe McCaskill will be able to land something very heavy. Having looked at the previous fight, her previous opponent retired. Obviously showcasing how heavy those hands are, but seems to be ineffective so far. 20 seconds left of the 8th round. Cameron's doing a fantastic job of staying out of harm, staying out of reach. Good head movement. McCaskill looks evidently frustrated. Cameron looks completely switched on. It's the end of the 8th round. I'll give that to Cameron. So Cameron up by 4 at this point. It's just rounds 9 and 10, and then we got the main fight. DAZN just showing some slow-mos there of a nice left hook that McCaskill threw. But then also Cameron doing a good job throwing shots of her own. I think interesting. I think DAZN suggesting that maybe maybe McCaskill won that 8th round and had the better of the exchanges, but I mean from what I was looking at, I think Cameron was doing just enough. We'll see obviously how the judges have it. Anyway, moving into the 9th round. Not wow. Okay. McCaskill trying to throw a right, and Cameron just tying her up there. Referee stepping in. McCaskill just coming forward. Cameron trying to throw, missing. Exchanges between these two again. No, nice shot to the body by McCaskill. Nice right hook by McCaskill. McCaskill again coming forward. Nice shot to the body. And a nice hook by McCaskill. McCaskill having a much better round, I think, so far. There's a minute left of this 9th round. She is coming back into it. Ooh, but then does expose herself and eats a hook. McCaskill. Kind of the hands are staying low. McCaskill's hands are staying pretty low. So she is exposing herself to shots to the shots upstairs. 40 seconds left of the 9th round. So far, I think McCaskill has actually had the better of the exchanges. Nice stiff left thrown by McCaskill, followed by a really nice overhand right and a nice hook. I don't think Cameron is hurt, but Cameron isn't throwing back very much, to be honest. I think this has been a really good round by McCaskill so far. Nice short right hook as well, thrown by McCaskill. It's the end of that round. Very, very dominant round, I think, by McCaskill there. So I'll give that to McCaskill. I've actually got Cameron up. I've got Cameron up by 3. So actually, on my scorecard, on my unofficial scorecard, Cameron is winning this fight, even if McCaskill wins this round. To be honest, the judges may have it closer. You know, the judges may have it closer to a draw at this point. But I gave a lot of the middle rounds to Cameron. And it's a bit too late for McCaskill to start coming back. But McCaskill has been coming back very, very well in these last few rounds from what I can gather. I didn't give the previous round, though, to McCaskill. In hindsight, some might have. So the 8th round might have gone to McCaskill, but definitely the 9th round has gone to McCaskill, in my opinion. So, you know, if McCaskill wins this round again, this 10th round, sorry, then that'll be 3 rounds in a row, according to maybe some viewers or some maybe one of the judges. That might be the difference between Cameron winning and there being a draw, for example. I think we're getting a bit closer to draw territory at this point. So 10th round, final round underway. Nice right hook by McCaskill. And both fighters going absolutely hell for leather at this point. Significant amount of exchanges. All the the whole tank's being emptied in this 10th round, I find. A wild right hook thrown by McCaskill that doesn't connect, and then both fighters tying themselves up. The marking on the nose of Cameron doesn't seem to be getting any worse. It is visible, but it's not necessarily bleeding out or anything like that. It doesn't seem to be obstructing the nasal, breathing. Less than a minute of this 10th round. Nice left hook by McCaskill. And Cameron trying to land an uppercut. I think just about brushed McCaskill's face. Nice shot to the body by Cameron, who has McCaskill against the ropes. Less than 30 seconds of this 10th round. Very even exchanges at this point of the final round. Nice right hook by McCaskill, though. I think just about this is McCaskill's round. 18 seconds left this 10th. And both fighters kind of on the clinch. I think McCaskill raising her hand as if to say she thinks she's won. And that's the end of the 10th round. Both fighters raising their hands. I'll give that to McCaskill. That final round. I've got Cameron up by 2. That's the end of my my unofficial scorecard is Cameron up by 2. Cameron gets a big hug from one of her trainers. I think they think they've won it. I think McCaskill thinks she's won it. It's a close fight. It'll be interesting to hear what the judges' scorecards are on this. I think McCaskill did a good job of finishing strong, but the question is was it enough? Is it enough, or is it not enough to win the fight? Because I feel like the kind of early / middle rounds, well, not the early rounds, but the middle rounds at least, I think they went to Cameron. So I've got Cameron up by 2. Let's see what the judges say. You know, even if McCaskill doesn't win this, my understanding is that at least at 147 or at welterweight, I understand that she's still the most kind of dominant fighter. This fight, of course, was not at 147. It was around like kind of what 140, around the kind of 140 mark, from what I understand, which is why it's obviously a super light fight. Competitive fight. Right, I've got my sound on. I'm gonna report back what the points results are. Sorry, what the judges' results are. We'll see. We will see. I won't be surprised even if it's a draw, to be honest. But let's see. So I've got Cameron up by 2. Let's see what the judges say. Judges seem to be taking their time. I think both fighters being called in the middle. Let's see. Let's see. Just waiting for Cameron to come to the middle. Referee kind of looking at her. Okay, here we go. Judges' score totals are 97, 93, 96, 94 for 2 judges. The winner is, there you go, Cameron. All right, Chantal Cameron is the winner of this bout. So judges' scorecards. One of the judges had it 97-93, so um, 6 in favor of Cameron, and then 2 judges had it 96-94. So 2 in favor of Cameron, which aligns a bit more with what I had it as, which was 2. I had Cameron by 2, so it makes sense to me. Not a particularly, certainly not a controversial result. What I expected, I had Cameron also up by 2. It could have potentially been closer, but it looks like it wasn't any closer according to the judges' scorecards. So there you go. So Chantal Cameron, she now takes all of those belts that this bout was being fought for. So the IBF World Super Light, IBO World Super Light, WBA World Super Light, WBC World Super Light, WBO World Super Light titles. All the belts are being thrown onto her now. And she's getting a little post-fight interview. Great Win says, F, would love to see a fight Katie Taylor. No, true. I agree. It would be interesting to see that. I know McCaskill has fought Taylor and lost to her. So it would be interesting to see Cameron and Taylor fight. Hopefully they'll be able to find an appropriate weight to fight at. I'm sure they will. That would be a big fight, and it would be a big fight in the kind of UK/Ireland space as well. Very big kind of European fight to watch, in my opinion. Right. With this fight over, we're actually moving on to the main fight. I think currently Cameron's just having a post-fight interview. I suspect the main fight will roll out in the next, I would say, 10 minutes or so. So for those of you who've been staying for the main fight, just want to let you know that the last undercard fight has completed. Cameron has beaten McCaskill, unanimous decision victory on the judges' scorecards, and we are now moving on to the big main fight, the WBA World Light Heavyweight title fight between Dmitry Bivol and Gilberto Ramirez. So yes, this one's going to be an interesting fight. Both fighters undefeated. It's a big light heavyweight fight. Bookies have Bivol as the favorite. However, it's one of those fights that can go either way. It's going to be a very close fight. I'm sure there's a lot of Mexican fans eager to watch this as well. Of course, Canelo's, pound for pound, and in many respects, the golden boy for Mexican fight fans. But if Ramirez wins this fight, I'm sure his status as an incredibly kind of well-known and respected Mexican champion in the space will be further consolidated by this victory. Bivol is, number 1 according to many, rankings, and even if you look at, say, the BoxRec, they have Bivol as number 1 here. He is the holder of the WBA Super World Light Heavy title. So he's obviously the champion in this fight. Ramirez is fighting to take that from him. So yeah, it makes sense why Bivol is the favorite, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's kind of compare their stats in the meantime. Neither fighter has walked out into the ring yet. I mean, let me know what you think of how you see this fight going if you're here for the main fight, of course. Let me know. Let me know who you're supporting. Let me know who you think is going to win, how they're going to win. Be interesting to know what you think. what I think is I'm going to say that I expect Bivol to win on points. That's my prediction. I think it's quite a conservative um, prediction. I think it's probably the most likely um, prediction. I would imagine it's the most probable outcome. However, who knows, eh? You know, Ramirez has got a very good knockout ratio percentage, and he's ended a lot of his fights through KO or TKO victories. He's actually quite heavy-handed. Then again, Bivol went up against Canelo, who is obviously very well known for being heavy-handed. Granted, Canelo had to go up in weight. And, you know, Canelo, by the way, you know, fantastic fighter in that he's obviously gone up so many weight classes, and he obviously dares to be even greater than what he already is in the eyes of many fight fans by continuing to test himself and, for example, fight Bivol, um, at a kind of a light heavy um, weight. But yeah, Canelo obviously is quite well known for being heavy-handed. He didn't manage to get Bivol out, did he? So then again, he's not necessarily a natural light heavyweight, is he? You know, Canelo is very different as a fighter. He's very different as a fighter. He's 5'8". You know, he's not really a natural light heavyweight, is he? Whereas Ramirez is, I think, more of a natural, I would say, light heavyweight. He's 6'2.5". You know, he's got a 75-inch reach. He's been fighting. You know, yes, of course, he's had many super middleweight fights, but he's he's tall enough and kind of like broad enough that world light heavyweight fights make sense. Um, are kind of more appropriate for him than say Canelo, right? So I don't think you can necessarily compare Canelo and Ramirez very well. So the question is how will Bivol react to someone who's quite a heavy puncher and who's more of a natural light heavyweight fighter, and who has a really fantastic record as well, technically very good. So this is his toughest, in my opinion. This is Bivol's toughest fight, right, to date. So it's going to be a very close fight, in my opinion. It'll be interesting to see how this one progresses. Yeah, I can't wait for it to start. And when it does start, of course, I will let you know what we'll do at the standard round by round commentary. I don't know how long they're going to take before these fighters come out, though. Hopefully soon. I would imagine within the next 10 minutes. We'll see. Let's compare the various tell of the tape type stats to kind of add to the analysis. So Bivol, 20 wins, no losses, no draws. Ramirez, 44 wins, no losses, no draws, right? I mean, obviously both fighters undefeated. Ramirez with a significantly larger amount of wins here. I do find that obviously a lot of Ramirez's early fights were very much domestic in Mexico, and that's not to say that to take away from his professional victories. However, one could argue that with all the domestic fights he's had, it's obviously limited in terms of more international exposure at a professional level. So in a way, you know, you can't read too much into the fact that he's got 24 more wins. But it's still very impressive, and I think it's quite common for um, Mexican fighters to have a lot of wins on their record that come from the domestic fights. For example, I think Canelo, unless I'm mistaken, has a significant amount of wins that he has had from kind of more domestic Mexican fights, and not to kind of fire shots at fighting in Mexico against maybe lesser ranked fighters. But another example here of the fact that it just seems to be a trend that the Mexican fighters have quite a lot of kind of fights in Mexico early on in their professional careers. Anyway, compare the fact that they're both undefeated. There's not really much between them. I mean, looking at who they've fought, a lot of people will be obviously looking at the Canelo fight that Bivol had, but as I've already discussed, I think we're reading too much into that to some extent. I don't think Canelo is a natural light heavyweight, is he? So, one thing to bear in mind here, Ramirez is more of a natural light heavyweight, so I think it'll be a tougher test than Canelo, is what I'm trying to say. Age, they're both same age, nothing to say there. Bivol, orthodox. Ramirez, of course, is a southpaw. It's quite interesting. So, I mean, let's see how many people Bivol has fought who are southpaws, right? So, he fought Canelo. Canelo's orthodox. He fought Salamov. Salamov is orthodox. He fought Craig Richards, who's orthodox. He fought Rivera, who's orthodox. He fought Joe Smith Jr., who's orthodox. I'm just looking at some of his most recent fights, and Pascal, who's orthodox. So that's another interesting thing to keep in mind, right? How is he going to deal with a southpaw fighter? I'm sure he's able to deal with a southpaw fighter. I'm sure he's been training against southpaw fighters in preparation for this fight. But if you look at the last, say, 5 or 6 fights that Bivol has had, he's just been fighting orthodox fighters. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he deals with that. Hello, Shirali. Welcome to the stream. I've just seen what Ali said here, but thanks, Shirali, for coming. Uzbekistan. Shout out to all of our viewers from Uzbekistan and from the Central Asian areas generally. We appreciate your viewership. Shout out to anyone who's like from outside the UK, to be honest. We appreciate the global viewership of QualityShot. QualityShot live streams. Ramirez is just making his way into the ring. For those of you who are wondering where we are so far on this main fight, Ali, you look sad that I'm not there to curse with you. Fight the good fight, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate the comment. Ugh, saying hello, people from Uzbekistan. Appreciate your warmth. Ugh, very nice to you. Ali's asking how were the fights so far? Yeah, good, pretty good. It was an interesting fight. The second to last undercard was very interesting. We had the guy that lost eventually actually up on the scorecard, but then the guy that beat him, he was he was super aggressive throughout the whole fight, and eventually managed to break through and land some really heavy hooks, and managed to finally get a TKO victory, which was actually quite surprising because he was losing on the scorecard. A guy called Rakimov, and actually Freddie Roach seems to be his coach, which I only realized until after the fight. But that was an interesting fight. And then we had the last undercard fight, which was McCaskill and Cameron and the Brit one. So that was an interesting fight as well, which potentially sets us up, if the numbers work and everything, for a fight between Cameron and Taylor, for example. That'd be an interesting fight to manage to fight at a weight they can agree on. Pretty interesting British fight. Well, British/Irish fight. But yeah, fight's been interesting so far. Just got Bivol making his way through now. Ramirez is already in the ring. Bivol's being accompanied by a rapper, I think. Just listening in to see. The crowd is quite. I know we had a comment from one of the viewers that the the crowd is quite quiet, and I actually do think, I'm not sure whether like the sound is different on for this fight or not, but it does sound as if the crowd is actually not like super loud or super excited or into it per se. There was kind of like a discussion about whether that was like a cultural thing. I have no idea. But I have noticed that yes, the crowd doesn't sound super loud. Um, yeah, who knows? Anyway, we're here for this big fight, and it is exciting for us. So yeah, this fight will be a very interesting one to watch. I think it's going to be a relatively even fight. I do have Bivol winning on they politely applaud. Thank you, F. Um, yeah, they politely applaud, which is very nice of them actually. You don't have to go nuts necessarily. I mean, I know I've had the I know what the vibes can be like, especially if you watch it with friends at 4 in the morning, for example. Some of these fights, you hear some absolute nonsense come out from some people sometimes um, that you wouldn't expect, and there's nothing polite about that. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Hug saying, some, someone needs to teach them Sweet Caroline. Agree. In that Sweet Caroline is an absolute banger and a very good icebreaker for any boxing fight. Sweet Caroline is a very good one. Um, yes, no, totally agree. Maybe they need to come up with their own version of Sweet Caroline, something similar to it. With time, I'm sure these things will develop. You know, I think Abu Dhabi and the Middle East in general have done a very good job of marketing and providing great infrastructure for these fights. And obviously, there is, boxing is very much a commercial endeavor for many people, and there's a lot of money to be made in the Middle East, and the Middle East generally seems to be trying to divest their assets so that they are able to cater to tourism and entertainment. And so things like this, which is why we're seeing so many more boxing fights and sporting events happening in the Middle East, is a way to do that. So I'm sure with time they will get better at all the other little bits here and there that maybe are more I don't know, more entertaining when fights are fought in the US and Europe, such as, for example, the vibes. But who knows? Um, is what it is. Cultures are all different. Obviously, again, World Cup, right? Where's the World Cup being held? Middle East. So there's a lot of sporting events being held in the Middle East. It's nice. It's nice for a change. It'd also be really interesting to have fights coming out in Africa. And by the way, the fight hasn't started yet. I'll let you know when the fight starts. It'd be nice to have more fights in Africa. Like I think AJ and Wilder were thinking of doing something like that because obviously the iconic Rumble in the Jungle fight in I think it was Zaire, Africa, between Ali and um, would have been Foreman, I think. Um, that was great, great vibes, and like it'd be nice for Africa as a continent to host more boxing fights as well. The more international, the more eyes on boxing, the better for the sport generally. So things like that would be great. Hosting boxing fights around the world is a good thing, in my opinion. Um, there's nothing wrong with the Americans and the Brits, for example, um, dominating the boxing scene in terms of fights being held there, etc. But there's something nice about things being spread out, in my opinion. And also, it's also better for time zones for people who are European viewers like me. Like, if there's a fight happening in America, I'd have to stay up until like 5 in the morning, and that sometimes means that I would pick and choose fights because sometimes fights are not. It's better to just wait for highlights the next morning rather than to stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning. And once again, if you watch with friends 4 or 5 in the morning, your friends will say some really interesting things, which maybe you'd be better off not hearing, and you'd be better off asleep. QualityShot Boxing F says Wilder most definitely. Yeah, it'd be interesting to have a Wilder AJ fight in Africa. I'd rate that. All right, Bivol Ramirez, both fighters in the center of the ring. Here is your main fight, people. This is it. The big one. We'll see how this one progresses. Ugh, with the slapdash type of dark, humid, very dark, humid comment there. Yeah, I think Kiev is unfortunately not an appropriate place to host a boxing event at this stage. Yeah. Anyway, so starting off the first round. All right, we're already here. I can tell Bivol looks much chunkier than Ramirez. Obviously Ramirez is slightly taller, I believe, so kind of makes sense, but seems to have a lot more upper body strength from the look, just looking at them. Anyway, first round away. It's just a feel. Looks like they're just feeling each other out right now. Just a lot of feints. Ramirez trying to land a shot to the body. Not much else. A lot of feints again. Bivol with an attempted hook. Ramirez stays out of range. A lot more feinting. Still more feinting. I think Ramirez just landed a jab. And referee's kind of pointing to the ground, which doesn't make any sense. And then letting the fighters continue again. Maybe he was talking about wet surface. I have no idea. Doesn't make any sense. maybe saying don't tie each other up on the feet, perhaps, because obviously orthodox versus southpaw, and they might be kind of tripping each other, something like that. Anyway, a lot more feints. Shot to the body by Ramirez. Bivol trying upstairs with a jab. It's difficult so far to try and score this round because it is very much a feel out round. Nice jab by Bivol. Again, nice jab. More feinting. Literally nothing. Obviously, the fighters are just kind of finding their range right now, and you know they'll be setting things up later on in this fight. But this is very much a kind of jabby, feinty type of first round. Nice jab to the body by Ramirez. Both had, I would say, quite equal levels of landing so far. Wild. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, nice shot upstairs by Ramirez there. And I'm sure he's making use of the reach advantage, Ramirez. He does look a fair bit taller and a bit more rangy. Nice movement as well. Just 10 seconds left this first round. And, oh, nice left thrown by Ramirez. And my goodness, nice bit of flurried activity in the last 5 seconds. Bivol did manage to land a hook, I think, but I do think that's Ramirez's round. I mean, look, it's very close. That was very close, but I'm actually giving that round to Ramirez. I think he was just slightly more successful in landing. It is very much a feel out type of first round, but anyway, I've got Ramirez up by 1. Let me know if you disagree, if you are watching as well, but I think that was Ramirez's round. I wouldn't read too much into it, namely because it was the first round, a lot of feints. There's still another 11 to go. So, yeah. Slow-mo is being shown by DAZN now, showing out Bivol landed a very nice short right hook. Fine. Oh, that was just at the end of the first round. Yeah, so I mean, surely maybe some judges will look at that and go, oh, okay, I'll give it to Bivol because he ended pretty strongly. But I think before that last exchange at the end of the first round, I think actually Ramirez had more success. Anyway, second round is underway. Nice sharp left jab by Bivol. And Ramirez with a kind of with a jab through the guard of Bivol. Nice jab to the body by Bivol. You can tell both fighters still relatively hesitant. A lot of back and forth, a lot of feints. Neither fighter seems particularly confident about committing to something more than a kind of jab. It is a very technical fight so far. Nothing about this fight is screaming a brawl, for example. Jab to the jab by Ramirez. Another jab. Another jab by Ramirez. Bivol trying to get on the inside. You can tell he's trying to kind of lean forward here. He's obviously a bit of a reach disadvantage. Both fighters trying to kind of throw some combos there. Neither was effective. Jab to the body by Bivol. Ooh, nice work there by Bivol. He did throw a nice hook. Tried to follow with an uppercut, which I think didn't connect, but it was a nice power punch that connected. 30 seconds left this second round. Oh, this is a very technical fight so far. You can tell there's a lot of thought into this into this one. I mean, neither of these fighters look like they want to really commit. A lot of feinting. Ooh, nice exchange. Bivol landing a nice hook. I'll give that to Bivol just about. I think he had more success. That's the end of the second round. I think he had more success. It's even Stevens now on my unofficial scorecard as we move on to the third round. Yeah, I think Bivol was a bit better in that round, so I'm giving it to him. I think both fighters are still unwilling to commit. So yes. How are you guys finding it so far? Do let me know. Um, is it going as you expected? I think so far, like it's a very interesting fight to watch from kind of a technical boxing point of view. It's not particularly there's not a lot of fireworks so far. Um, neither fighter seems willing to overcommit, which might make it slightly less kind of entertaining for someone who maybe wants to watch like a knockdown or something like that. But there are short bursts, short flurries of exchanges. It is very high level in terms of the kind of technical approach that both of these fighters are taking in my opinion. It's just far more hesitant. You can just tell from watching this. It's far more hesitant so far. The third round is underway, and once again, we're just seeing a lot of feints. Um, I'm sure the hands will start flying soon, though. And it looks like this third round is potentially going to be where things open up a bit more because I am seeing both fighters throw with more frequency so far. So Ramirez now trying to go to the body, but Bivol doing a good job of staying out of range. Nice 1-2 by Bivol. Again, both fighters just fainting. Bivol coming forward. Bivol with a stiff left hand. Ramirez trying the hook, but Bivol using good head movement, stay out of the way. Nice jab by Bivol. Jab to the body by Ramirez. Nice jab by Bivol again. About a minute left of this third round. I think it's testament to both these fighters' head movement abilities here. I mean, that's probably why neither is able to connect very cleanly. They're both very, very good with the lateral movement here. But it just seems as if the reason why the exchanges are not landing as cleanly is less so to do with their accuracy and more so to do with how good each of their respective head movement and defense abilities are. There's less than 30 seconds left of this third round. It's still very much a hesitant. Feels like a very hesitant fight to watch so far. Nice 1-2 by Ramirez though. It's difficult to score this third round. Both had a bit of success respectively. Again, both kind of trying to land, but each staying out of just about enough range. Fine. Okay. Interesting. Also, wait, where are the seats? There are loads of empty seats in the stadium. I'm just looking at the crowd, like, are there empty seats here? This is the main event. Like, that was a bit weird to see. I don't know if anyone else is watching this, um, let me know if you agree in that it doesn't look like all the seats are actually full, which is weird, because this is the main fight. Anyway, I'll give that round to Bivol in that I think it was very close, but I think Bivol did just about enough. But honestly, there isn't too much between these two, and they both seem to be hesitant. I think they are they're getting to the stage where they are opening up a bit more, and they are willing to commit slightly more. But it's just, I don't know, it's just there's a lot of feints. The fight's not flowing too well. Might also be to do with the fact that it's Orthodox v Southpaw, and sometimes they can be quite awkward fights to watch, and also awkward fights to score. And both fighters obviously they may kind of tangle each other up sometimes, given their stance. Obviously, referee pointing to the floor sometimes. I assume to maybe remind them not to step on each other's toes or something like that. It is 5th of November. I'm hoping to see some fireworks in this fight. Nice left, nice straight left by Ramirez, but Bivol coming back with like a bunch of combos. Actually, he's really opening up now. Ooh, looks like both the fighters are really opening up. This is more what I was hoping for in this fight. Yeah, it looks like they're far more loose with the hands now. Hopefully, we'll be able to see a bit more frequent exchanges here. I think Bivol had a bit of success earlier on there. He's thrown a bunch of combos, and some did connect. Wow, nice movement there. Head movement by Ramirez. Manages to get out of the way. Ramirez is trying to land. I'm impressed by both these fighters' head movements, and their defense generally is pretty solid. They've done a good job respectively staying out of range. They're both very quick as well, very quick for light heavyweights. One minute left of this fourth round. Nice 1-2 by Bivol. I wouldn't want to be a judge trying to score this because it just. I think the exchanges are just so close that I'm yet to see necessarily a round where one of the fighters has just very easily won the round. They, you could look at it in many ways. These rounds so far, it is difficult to score. I'm only just edging some of these rounds to Bivol. I feel like Bivol, for whatever reason, is connecting slightly more frequently, throwing punches and bunches a bit more frequently as well, and doing a good job staying out of range. And he's also the aggressor. Just checking these fighters for markings. That's the end of the fourth round. We'll give that round to Bivol again. I mean, I'm just going to check. Neither of the fighters look particularly marked or damaged, and Bivol looks fine. His left eye maybe looks slightly marked, but hardly anything to really report. Ramirez looks fine as well. So again, not really much between these two. I've got Bivol up by 2, moving into the 5th round now. How are you guys finding it? It's not so far amongst some of the most exciting fights that I've watched. I mean, if I had to have my own personal opinion about it, I mean, it's interesting to witness this fight, very interesting from a technical point of view. There are short bursts of exchanges, but I feel as if it hasn't flown very well so far. But we'll see. We're in the 5th round now. That's interesting. Mannix has it even Stevens on his unofficial scorecard. Interesting. I mean, I think that's a sign that it is actually quite difficult to score this, and it is quite close, competitively speaking. Lightning speed from both of them, really. Nice right hand thrown by Ramirez. Both fighters just fainting. Ramirez trying to 1-2, but Bivol's keeping his guard nice and high. Bivol just parrying the punches. Ramirez again trying a right hand, but Bivol staying out of range. Ramirez trying a few combos and coming forward, but Bivol again staying out of range, showing some good defense there. Yeah, I mean, both fighters just kind of fainting, to be honest, in the middle of the ring right now. Bivol coming forward and throwing, and Ramirez trying to counter there, but didn't connect. Ramirez trying to 1-2, Bivol keeping his guard high. Oh, nice right hand by Bivol. It's been slightly more successful, I think, in this 5th round. It's about a minute left. And again, both fighters just staring at each other in the middle of the ring and fainting. Ramirez trying to jab, seeing whether he can find an opening, really. Obviously, a very technical fight, as I mentioned. Both fighters trying to, I assume, assess the pattern of each fighter. You know, feinting and throwing the jab, seeing if they can find an opening, seeing if anyone's going to be dropping their hands in response to a jab or. Oh, Bivol doing a good job of getting Ramirez against the ropes there. Did manage to land a few body shots. Ramirez finding his way back into the center of the ring though. Nice little exchange in the last 10 seconds. Nice right hand by Ramirez. And that is the end of that round. I'll give that to Bivol. So I got Bivol up by 3. Which is not as close as, for example, Mannix, who since the previous round had it even Stevens, but I think Bivol's doing enough so far, in my opinion. Just waiting for the 6th round to commence. Showing some slow-mos here, DAZN, of the nice right hand that Bivol landed. He was actually quite successful with the hooks. He threw a bunch of hooks in succession, and quite a fair amount of them landed. I think that's enough for him to have won that round, which is why I gave him that round. We're in the 6th round now. And Ramirez just popping the jab. Bivol slowly edging forward. Ramirez with a glancing jab. Nice jab by Bivol. Followed by another jab. Again, another jab by Bivol. And another. And a bunch of feints again. I mean, definitely this fight has been fought through a lot of hesitant feints followed by significant amounts of activity in short bursts. What you'd kind of expect, I guess. And the key, I think, is to figure out who's landing more in those particular exchanges. So far, I think Bivol's landing more jabs. Lands another jab just now. Less than a minute 30 of this 6th round. Ooh, nice hook by Bivol. And another. Again, I think Bivol is landing more. I'm probably going to give him this round. It's a minute left. I think he's just getting beaten to the punch in some respects. Ramirez. Again, nice hook by Bivol, who seems to be more comfortable kind of committing to trying to throw a power punch. Kind of like in-out style. 30 seconds left of the 6th round. Oh, nice left hook by Bivol. Less than 10 seconds. And that's the end of that round. I'm giving that to Bivol. Again, I've got Bivol up by 4 now, which is quite clear lead at this point as we move into the 7th round. I think the Mexican needs to do something to try and change the course of this fight, because I just don't think he's managing to land enough. I don't think he's able to commit to these types of flurries that Bivol's able to commit to. Bivol's doing a good job of throwing the hook, and DAZN just showing the slow-mo here, and it's all Bivol. It's Bivol coming forward with a left followed by the right hook. And Ramirez, in some respects, being maybe a bit too hesitant. Just a zoom up of the crowd, who look quite relaxed. Yes, we're in the 7th round now. How are you guys scoring this fight for those of you watching? Do you agree with me? Do you have Bivol up? I think Bivol's up. It seems quite comfortable for him at this point. Mannix, his unofficial scorecard has Bivol up 58 to Ramirez 56. So Bivol up by 2. I've got Bivol up by 4. I think the general trend is that Bivol is starting to take these rounds. A bit more activity needed from Ramirez in order to try and change the tide of this fight, I think. 7th round is currently ongoing. Bivol trying a bunch of combinations, but Ramirez actually showing good head movement, getting out of the way. Ooh, Bivol with a nice shot to the body. Ramirez trying to come forward with some sort of combination, but Bivol having none of it. Managed to stay out of range. Doing a good job of utilizing the jab, and a nice hook thrown by Bivol. It's technically very good. 1 minute 30 of this 7th round. Nice jab by Bivol. Ramirez with a feint. Trying to follow it up with a right jab, but Bivol just staying out of range. Good head movement by him as well. Again, Ramirez trying the hook, trying the uppercut, trying the jab, all of it missing. Bivol trying his own punches. Oh, quite a solid hook that Bivol threw, which landed. All the eye-catching landing punches coming from Bivol right now so far. Ramirez again just trying to throw, but Bivol's head movement has been really good. He's done a very good job of evading these punches. His defense has been very nice. By contrast, I think Ramirez hasn't been particularly good at blocking these kind of combos and these hooks that Bivol's been throwing the other way back. 20 seconds left of the 7th round. I'm giving this one to Bivol again, unless Ramirez comes up with something. And is he able to come up with something? No. Said he eats a jab, unfortunately for him. So I think that's the end of that round. That's a Bivol round again. I think Bivol's starting to take over this fight, in my opinion. I've got him up by 5 rounds. We're moving into the 8th round. I think given the nature of this type of fight, I think this fight is very much in Bivol's control. Just has to not get knocked down, I guess. I think it's quite comfortable to win on a points-based victory at this point, because I've got him up by quite a few. I assume Mannix has got him up by at least 3-4 now. He has, however, sustained a little cut, Bivol, underneath his eye. And it'll be interesting to see if Ramirez tries to, manipulate that and tries to focus on it, maybe open up that cut. For now, it doesn't look too bad. But it's a slight cut underneath his, I think it's his right eye. So we'll see. All the DAZN slow-mos just showing Bivol just landing heavy hooks on Ramirez, which is what I've been seeing as well. So I think it's quite clear that was Bivol's round. Moving into the 8th round of this 12th round fight. Bivol doing a good job of utilizing his jab to try and close the distance between him and Ramirez, allowing himself to edge forward, trying to pop the left hook. This fight's going pretty good for Bivol, in my opinion. Ramirez again. feinting. Trying to pop something. But Bivol staying out of range. I think Ramirez did land a little body shot there, but looked more like a kind of pitter-patter jab rather than anything particularly heavy. Oh, nice stiff jab though, landed by Ramirez, which is better. 1 minute 30 of this 8th round. And nothing really happening. I mean, it looks like both fighters just kind of feinting, trying to pop the jab, and nothing really connecting, to be honest. I mean, Ramirez trying to land a jab, Bivol keeping his guard nice and high, just parrying those punches. Just a minute left this 8th round. Bivol with Ramirez against the ropes, and he's unleashing a bunch of hooks, which obviously looks very good. I don't know if he connected very much, but from an optics point of view, it looked pretty nice. Shows him as the aggressor there, and Ramirez having Bivol against the ropes, but Bivol doing a very good job of keeping a high guard. Ramirez noticing that though, and landing a nice shot to the body. 20 seconds left of this 8th round. Again, Bivol doing a good job of keeping a high guard, but Ramirez throwing a body shot. So maybe that's something that Ramirez could do. Keep that guard high of Bivol's, try and go to the head, but then follow up to the body. He's having a bit more success with the body shots. That's the end of the 8th round. It's a Bivol round again, in my opinion. I think Bivol was better in those exchanges. Maybe Ramirez could do with trying to land to the body a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I got Bivol up by 6, and we've only got 4 rounds left. So unless something drastically changes, I'm going to be quite comfortable in believing that Bivol's winning this fight on points. We'll see, but I think that's the case. So just waiting for this 9th round to start. All right, 9th round is underway. Again, feints. Nice shot to the body by Bivol. Ramirez trying to come forward. I think landed a jab. Again, Ramirez trying to come forward. Tried to land a shot to the body, but Bivol doing a good job just staying back. Ramirez with a soft shot to the body. I mean, it just looked like a jab. Again, another jab to the body. Which is good, I think. I mean, Ramirez should ideally go to the body, in my opinion. I think he's not had much success upstairs. He could do well with just trying to keep Bivol's gloves up and then just go to the body, which looks like what he's trying to do. Ramirez trying to double jab, Bivol staying out of range. Nice stiff jab by Ramirez. 1 minute 30 of this 9th round. Nice shot to the body by Ramirez again. I think he's having a better round right now. And he's got Bivol against the ropes. What's he going to do? Bivol's very comfortable against the ropes. Just got his keeping his gloves nice and high. And he's just happy. He's happy to fight Ramirez against the ropes, to be honest. Landed some nice counter punches, and Ramirez with a nice shot to the body, but a lot of his punches getting blocked by Bivol. He's done a very good job of keeping a high guard. Bivol coming back with a with a really nice hook. Really nice number of combos thrown by Bivol just now. Quite a few of those punches connected, not all of them, but it looked very nice. And just when I was about to give Ramirez the round, I feel like Bivol's potentially stolen it. 20 seconds left of the 9th round. Ramirez kind of chasing Bivol around the ring at this point. And both fighters kind of in a clinch. Referee stepping in to break the two up. It's the end of that round. I'm gonna give that to Ramirez. I think he did more work in the beginning and the middle parts of the round. Bivol had a very nice exchange at the latter end, but I don't think it's necessarily enough to take that round away. So I'm gonna give that round to Ramirez. I got Bivol up by 5 though, which is quite a bit. I'm going to assume that the judges have Bivol winning this unanimously. I can't imagine anything else at this stage. There's 3 rounds left. I wonder if Ramirez is able to land a really heavy punch and maybe knock Bivol down or something like that, because I feel like he really needs a knockdown at this point. There's only 3 rounds left. How are you guys finding it as well? Do you also think that Bivol is quite comfortably winning this, or do you think actually Ramirez is potentially edging this fight? I mean, I think it's quite clear Bivol is winning this here. I think entertainment-wise, this fight's been so far interesting. Technically, very interesting to view. Mannix's scorecard has Bivol 88 to Ramirez 83, so has Bivol up by 5. Similar to me, I've got Bivol up by 5 as well, so interesting to see that we're aligned on that. The rounds we're not necessarily aligned on, but coming to the same result anyway. And with Bivol up by 5 on each of our unofficial scorecards, I can't imagine the judges are too far away from that, so I suspect that's the case. And given that we're in the 10th round right now, I don't think there's any way for Ramirez to come back unless he knocks Bivol down. Referee telling both fighters keep their gloves up. Ramirez trying to kind of push Bivol onto the ropes there, but Bivol doing a good job of kind of swiveling and just keeping the center of the ring. Bivol doing a good job of kind of fighting on the back foot. Early on in the fight, he was the aggressor in that he was coming forwards. Now he's very much comfortable with allowing Ramirez to come forwards. You know, he's winning on points. Ramirez needs to come forwards in order to try and steal points or maybe score a knockdown. He needs to try and make something happen. And I think Bivol knows that and is comfortable to allow Ramirez to come forward so that maybe Bivol can try and counter. Seems very comfortable fighting against the ropes, Bivol. Less than a minute of this 10th round. Nice little exchange in the middle of the ring. Nice jab by Ramirez. Nice high guard by Bivol. Which I think has been very successful keeping those gloves up. Ramirez again trying to throw some shots at different angles, but Bivol doing a very good job of slipping and sliding. Yeah, this might be a Bivol round, to be honest, which makes it even worse for Ramirez. That's the end of the round. I'm giving that round to Bivol, to be honest. They've got Bivol up by 6 with 2 rounds to go. I think it's been quite a, it's been an interesting fight to watch. I don't think it's been particularly competitive. By this point, I think Bivol has been comfortably winning rounds. The activity is not. There's not a lot of activity in these rounds now as well. The general nature of these rounds has been loads of feints, short bursts of exchanges. Bivol's been very successful with the hooks. Very successful with kind of coming forward and throwing the combos. Very nice lateral movement, very good defense. Ramirez has had real issues trying to close the distance, trying to land. He's been trying to throw punches in different angles, but Bivol's done a very good job of staying out of range. And so Bivol's just boxed very well. This has been a boxing fight, a technical boxing fight, and Bivol has been the better boxer so far. We're in the 11th round now, and it's at no real point has this fight been a brawl. At no real point has Ramirez really kind of used his maybe physical advantages in this fight in the way that maybe he could have. He hasn't really used his height. He hasn't really bullied Bivol very much. He hasn't kind of pushed Bivol around. Bivol's done a very good job of standing and trading, and using lateral movement. Now, obviously, anything can change. It is a boxing fight. Something could happen drastically. I don't think anything will happen drastically, but we'll see. This 11th round is still underway. Nice short right hand by Bivol. Ramirez, who's had real issues trying to connect this fight, tries to throw a jab, but Bivol stays out of range. Referee kind of stopping fight momentarily because it looks like there may have been a little head clash. But yeah, both fighters resuming the fight. Bivol with a little, 1-2 that doesn't connect. Nice head movement by Bivol though, because Ramirez tries to throw something of his own, doesn't really connect as well. Ramirez trying to almost chase Bivol around the ring. Bivol again with a flurry that he threw just now and didn't particularly connect. Nice lateral movement by Ramirez as well, I guess. Oh, nice hook thrown by Bivol, which does connect. 1-2. Ramirez trying a 1-2 doesn't connect. Ramirez with a jab. 35 seconds of this 11th round. Nice jab by Ramirez. Oh, nice double jab by Bivol. "20 seconds left." Nice hook by Bivol. Again, I think I'm going to give this round to Bivol unless Ramirez does something special. And he has not. Okay, that's 10-9 again to Bivol in my opinion. I got Bivol up by 7, which is, yeah, very one-sided, I know. But yeah, we're moving into the final round now. There's no way Ramirez can win this on my unofficial scorecard unless he knocks out Bivol, basically. I don't see that happening. So I'm quite confident in thinking that Bivol's won this fight. But we will see. We shall see. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is Do you also think that Bivol's quite clearly won this? Do you think Ramirez has disappointed you? If you're a Ramirez fan, has he disappointed you in this fight? Did you expect more from him? My prediction was Bivol on points. I think that's going to happen. All right, final round is on the way. 1-2 by Ramirez doesn't connect. Kind of looping right hand by Ramirez, which again does not connect. Not much going on here. There's a lot of feinting again. I think Ramirez really needs to just put everything into this. I assume his corner's told him that he's not winning this fight. Oh, he just eats a stiff right hand, Ramirez. I think Bivol's boxed very well in this fight. He's comfortably won many of these rounds. Nice left hook thrown by Bivol. It's technically very gifted. Oh, another nice left hook thrown by Bivol. In these exchanges, Ramirez trying the right hand and it doesn't connect. Bivol doing a good job staying out of range once again. Both fighters on the clinch. Referee's going to step in, I'm sure. No, both fighters managed to just break it out themselves. 1 minute 30 left this 12th round. Just a minute. Oh, nice left hook by Bivol. My goodness me. Nice right hook by Bivol again. It's it's funny because like Ramirez really needs to try and do something here to win this fight, in my opinion, and yet Bivol is the one who I think is throwing more of the power punches. The person who looks like they're more likely to go out of this to be knocked down is Ramirez rather than Bivol. 45 seconds left this 12th round. And Ramirez has Bivol against the ropes, but Bivol doing a good job of just fighting his way out and tying up Ramirez. Referee stepping in to break these two up. 30 seconds left of this final round of the main event. Again, hesitancy from Ramirez. There's 10 seconds left of this final round. And he's obviously been trying to look for an opening or an opportunity, but it really hasn't come, and it's a bit too late now. And both fighters just kind of throwing flurries at each other before the end of the round, and there you go. That's the end of the fight. I mean, honestly, it's 10-9, Bivol again. Bivol up by 8. I mean, it's just very much a one-sided fight. Not particularly, in my opinion, it wasn't super competitive. I think it's quite clear Bivol's won. I'm not particularly. I wouldn't be surprised if Bivol wins unanimously by quite a large margin. If anything, I found the Rakimov fight more interesting than the Ramirez Bivol one. If I have to be honest with you, because it was more surprising. There's pretty good knockdowns. This was a very technical boxing fight. A lot of feints, very hesitant, short exchanges, fine, but not much damage caused to both fighters. Obviously, a very high level fight, and you get technical fights like this, fine, but I don't know. Entertainment wise, if you're a big fan of the big technical type fights, I'm sure you might have found it very interesting. I found the Rakhimov fight more interesting than 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 the main one. Let's listen to the scorecards when they eventually come out, but I'm sure it's going to be something like Bivol wins by like 6-7 rounds or something like that. I cannot imagine Ramirez winning this fight at all. I will be completely surprised. Uh, it won't make any sense. So yeah, I got Bivol up by 8. I don't know how big your margins were, but I think he won quite comfortably. Ugh. DAZN just showing AJ and Roy Jones Jr. just shaking hands or something. Anyway, let's listen to these results and then we will conclude the stream. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, we do appreciate it. If you can, a like, subscription to the channel would be much appreciated. Helps the channel grow. Let's listen in to these results. I'm sure Bivol's won by a large margin. Just waiting for the results. Right, scorecards. 118, 110. And the other two judges? 117, 111. So an 8 margin and a 6 margin in favor of Bivol. There you go. Bivol wins. I'm not surprised. I mean, Bivol wins quite comfortably. 8-round margin, so 8-point margin from the first judge and a 6-point margin from the second and third judges. So basically, Bivol up by between 6 to 8. I had Bivol up by 8. I'm not surprised. It is quite an easy win for Bivol. Yeah, I mean, are you guys surprised or not? Like, I think it wasn't a particularly in the amount of fights that I've watched in my time, it's probably not one of the most exciting ones. I mean, interesting to watch from a technical point of view, as I said, but I think Bivol won quite comfortably, and the lack of the competitiveness of the fight, especially from the mid to the late rounds, made it um, quite calm viewing. There was no real fear that somehow Bivol was going to, get knocked down or anything like that. I think for whatever reason, and well, I'll tell you what the reason is. Bivol is technically an incredibly good boxer. It's clear to see. Ramirez with his amazing record and the height advantage, and I believe the reach advantage as well, still was not able to crack the code of Bivol here. And I think Bivol did a great job, um, you know, using distance very well, stayed out of range, very good head movement, very good lateral movement. He did a very good job throwing combos, hooks, very effective in the exchanges. And Ramirez, unfortunately, he hesitated quite a bit. The fight was full of feints, but he hesitated quite a bit, and he simply was unable to connect as much as he, I'm sure, wanted to. So technically, Bivol's just really good. So well done to him. He obviously deserves to win, and he made it look easy, which is a big deal. He made the fight look pretty easy against Ramirez. He's obviously beat Canelo, now he's beat Ramirez, so. I was just getting a post-fight interview now, Bivol, just being asked how the fight was different to Canelo. Obviously, it's different in many many respects, but it makes good interviewing, I'm sure, to ask a question like that. So Bivol just asking, Ramirez came into the ring bigger than you. However, you were the aggressor for the most part. How important was it? Bivol saying, the lion is not the biggest animal in the jungle. Doesn't matter how big the opponent is. Yeah, fine. No, I appreciate that. Let's see what else. Let's see if he's going to ask about who else he wants to fight. He's just asking him what this year meant for him. He's had a very, very, very successful year, hasn't he, Bivol? You know, well, I mean, well done to him, of course. He's beaten Canelo, which is not an easy feat. I know, obviously, Canelo went up. You know, he was fighting at a weight that maybe was a bit too much of a maybe a bit off more than he could chew, sure. But he's beaten obviously Canelo, and in the same year he's beaten Ramirez, which is quite a feat. So yeah, he's obviously won according to BoxRec and keeps his belt. So who next? Probably Bitabiv, I guess. Yeah, probably Bitabiv. I think you should just fight him, right? I don't think he should rematch Canelo. I don't know why they're talking about rematching Canelo. It's completely unnecessary for Bivol. But yeah. Anyway, it looks like that's the end of that interview. I'm going to wrap up now as well. Thank you for tuning in. Interesting fights that we watched today. I mean, the Ramirez Bivol fight, very interesting technically. I think the most entertaining fight, however, was not the Ramirez Bivol fight. In fact, I think the more interesting fight that we watched today was the second to last undercard fight. I think that was actually quite entertaining to watch by comparison, which was the Rakimov Barrett fight. So if you wanna, if you haven't checked that one out, it was quite an interesting fight to watch. And yeah, Rakimov managing to pull out the win, even though he was losing on points, was quite an interesting feat. Bivol obviously technically very good, and I think part of why the fight wasn't super crazy entertaining necessarily was actually because of the fact that Bivol was actually so good technically that he made it almost look easy at different points in this fight against Ramirez. Great head movement, great defense, great ability to connect even against a long, tall, rangy fighter like Ramirez. So hats off to Bivol. Moving on to the next fight for him. He's had a great year. Let's see what 2023 has in store for him. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Do appreciate if you could like, subscribe. Always helps the channel grow. And we will catch you on another live stream near you. Thank you and take care.